if she's going to report me to the police, if that's how she wants to play it, I'll report you right back. And I won't go to the police. I'll go to the Justice League. Note to Jimmy Kimmel, not only would Marjorie Taylor Greene's husband make quick work of you, but Rep. MTG herself would make quick work of you. Kimmel would not last too long if he were interested in engaging in unprovoked, terrible violence against this congresswoman. Keep wearing a mask. Well, Senator Cruz replied to this. That was not written to him. Bizarre. 535 members of Congress can attend the State of the Union without wearing masks. Still not good enough for Hollywood.
Did you know that in 2022, there were over 240 million 911 calls in the US? But I bet you can't guess how many were about jokes. Thanks to Marjorie Taylor Greene, that number isn't 0 anymore. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. We're about to dive into the absurd saga of MTG versus Jimmy Kimmel. It's a tale of thin skin, bad jokes, and what happens when politicians forget how to laugh. Spoiler alert, it involves a lot of other people laughing at them.
On our show Tuesday night, MTG, Clan Mom as we call her, earlier in the day, called 3 of her fellow Republicans pro-pedophile for supporting Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson's nomination. She tweets. After she saw it, she tweeted, ABC contacts my employer. This threat of violence against me by Jimmy Kimmel has been filed with the Capitol Police. She called the police. After processing the fact that someone called the police on me, believe it or not, this has never happened to me in my life. I tweeted back, I wrote, officer, I'd like to report a joke.
So there's Jimmy Kimmel just doing his job, cracking jokes about politics like he does every night. But little did he know, he was about to set off a comedy explosion that would rock Washington. It all started when Kimmel made a joke about Marjorie Taylor Greene, you know, the lady who thinks Jewish space lasers are a thing. He quipped, wow, where is Will Smith when you really need him? Now, for most people, that's just a harmless jab. But for MTG, it was like he declared war on her hairspray collection. Instead of laughing it off or firing back with her own zinger, MTG went full drama queen. She actually called the Capitol Police to report Kimmel's joke as a threat of violence. Can you imagine that 911 call? Hello, emergency services? A late night host made fun of me on TV. Send backup. The poor operator must have been so confused.
This afternoon, she wrote, you were joking. You hide your misogyny and your racism behind your jokes on ABC. This was a dog whistle to the violent left to assault me or worse. And you're misspelled you're, of course. Well, that's nice. She thinks I have fans. I guess that's good. But now listen, not only don't I condone death or any kind of threats against anyone, especially since I get dozens of them a week myself. This woman, you may remember, she's the one who endorsed fringe conspiracy theories and repeatedly indicated support for executing prominent Democratic politicians. Now she's dialing 911 because she got made fun of.
Ma'am, is the joke armed and dangerous? Should we send in the SWAT team? While MTG was losing her mind over a punchline, real emergencies were happening. You know, the kind 911 operators usually deal with, like fires, car accidents, or people getting stuck in their own skinny jeans. But no, they had to handle this comedy crisis instead. So what did the cops do? Did they storm the ABC studios with sirens blaring? Did they slap the cuffs on Kimmel for first-degree comedy? Nope. Turns out being funny isn't actually a crime. Who knew? The ladies of The View had a field day with this. Ana Navarro hit the nail on the head when she said, I think in the right-wing culture, they call people like you snowflakes. That's gotta burn more than MTG's tanning bed. But here's the kicker. Kimmel pointed out that MTG called the same Capitol Police she voted against giving a gold medal to for defending the Capitol during the January 6th mess. Talk about biting the hand that reluctantly answers your ridiculous call. Kimmel wasn't done though. He tweeted, officer, I would like to report a joke. Now that's how you handle a comedy emergency, folks. He even reminded everyone about MTG's own history of supporting some pretty out there theories and, let's say enthusiastic ideas about Democratic politicians. But wait, there's more. This comedy train was just leaving the station, and it was about to pick up more passengers than MTG has conspiracy theories. Buckle up, Buttercup, cause this ride's about to get wild. MTG thought calling 911 would shut Kimmel up. Boy, was she wrong. Instead of putting out the comedy fire, she poured gasoline on it. Other late night hosts smelled blood in the water, and suddenly it was open season on MTG. The jokes started flying from all directions like a bunch of comedians had a secret meeting and decided, hey, let's all make fun of the lady who can't take a joke. Stephen Colbert, never one to miss out on a good roast, jumped into the fray with both feet. He quipped, MTG called the cops on a joke. I guess she really is pro-life. She wants to give birth to a punchline. Ouch! Colbert's zinger hit harder than MTG's head against common sense. Not to be outdone, Trevor Noah joined the party with his own spicy take. He said, Trump defending MTG is like the Titanic trying to rescue the Hindenburg. They're both going down in flames. Now that's what I call a comedy double whammy. Noah managed to roast not just MTG, but threw Trump under the bus too. Talk about efficiency in comedy. The comedy snowball kept growing, picking up more laughs as it rolled downhill. It was like watching a comedy version of the Avengers assembling, but instead of fighting Thanos, they were all dunking on MTG. Even daytime TV hosts, who usually stick to recipes and celebrity gossip, couldn't resist getting in on the action. It was like MTG had accidentally united the entire TV landscape in a collective belly laugh at her expense. But here's the kicker. The more MTG complained, the funnier the jokes got. It was like she was feeding the comedy monster, and it just kept getting bigger and hungrier. Kimmel, not content with just one round of jokes, turned MTG into the unwitting star of his show. He kept coming up with new material faster than MTG could dial 911. It was like watching a comedy ping pong match, but MTG forgot to bring her paddle. The funniest part? MTG kept insisting that Kimmel's joke was a real threat. Meanwhile, the rest of us were wondering if she knew what a joke was. It's like she thought the punchline was going to jump out of the TV and actually punch her. But this isn't just about laughs. There's a bigger picture here, folks. This whole kerfuffle has sparked a chat about political satire and how it shapes what we think about the big cheeses in Washington. It's like MTG accidentally started a national seminar on free speech, humor, and why politicians should maybe invest in a sense of humor. Who knew a bad reaction to a joke could teach us so much? So folks, we've learned a valuable lesson here. When politicians can't take a joke, we all miss out on some good laughs. But hey, at least MTG's Comedy Meltdown gave us a week's worth of hilarious material. It's like she accidentally became a comedy writer for every late night host in America. But here's the thing, humor isn't just about getting giggles. Dr. Jennifer McMahon, who knows a thing or two about political jokes, says that the ability to laugh at oneself is crucial for politicians, as it fosters relatability and public trust. Imagine that, being able to laugh at yourself might actually make people like you more. Who knew? And get this, a whopping 70% of people think politicians who can crack jokes about themselves are more trustworthy. So next time you're tempted to call 911 over a joke, remember, the real emergency is your sense of humor. Maybe instead of dialing for the cops, try dialing up your funny bone instead. It might just save your political career and save us all from another week of MTG jokes.